A major part of New York's new gun law would require therapists, doctors, nurses, social workers to tell authorities if they believe a patient is likely to harm themselves or others. Judge Andrew Napolitano is here. I say that this shifts the standard of privacy between therapist and patient and shifts the privacy line between therapist and patient. And you say what?
I agree with you. So the real question is, can the legislature of the state of New York do this? Since privacy is a natural human right, and since it's protected by the federal Constitution. Stated differently, the interpretations of the Constitution by the Supreme Court, excuse me, put a floor on privacy below which no state may go. Can the state of New York, in the interest of public safety, go below that floor? The standard answer is no, it cannot. But if you look at the statute, here's what happens when the government enacts law in response to a public crisis, and the governor wants to be the first to enact the law.
Yep.
You get statutes that are poorly written, poorly thought through, not subject to public debate, not subject to input by the experts who will be affected by it. So the statute that says a healthcare professional, and you've defined it nicely, it could be a doctor, it could be a social worker, or anyone in between, who has reason to believe that there's a substantial probability, that's the phrase, that a patient will engage in violence, has the option.
An option?
Whether or not to report it.
Is it the option or the obligation?
The statute is ambiguous. Because one portion of this is what happens when a statute is written in haste rather than studied by lawyers and the experts who are going to be affected by it, so that they can anticipate how it's going to be used and interpreted. Because at one part of the statute says shall be required. Another part of the statute says, well, if in the exercise of their judgment they don't have to reveal it, there can be no consequences to them for the decision not to reveal.
Well, that absolves them of liability.
Right. So this is basically a political fig leaf.
It's a fudge.
Rushed through the legislature by Governor Cuomo and Republicans as well as Democrats because they wanted to create the false impression that they were doing something to keep people safe. In reality, this will not make anybody safer. It will invade privacy, and it will give the false sense of security, and that will make people less safe.
Before you go, and I know you all want to get into this, but before you go, at 11 o'clock this morning, some Democrats will hold a press conference and say, please end the debt ceiling. No more debt ceiling. I know you don't like that.
What do they mean, no more debt ceiling? In other words, the Treasury could borrow whatever it wanted. Yes. By statute, it wouldn't need an authorization.
Right.
This would take us 180. No, it's not constitutional, but it would take us 180 degrees from the rule of the road before the Federal Reserve. Then the Congress had to approve each and every borrowing, including the amount borrowed, the interest paid, and the identity of the lender, the purchaser of the bonds. So these people want the Secretary of the Treasury to be able to borrow whatever he wants?
I believe so. I've not heard the wording. That's coming up about 45 minutes from now.
This will march us towards Greece even faster than we're moving now.
Is it true that you're learning Greek? I'm not sure. Maybe Latin, I don't know. Judge.
Efkaristo para poli, which means thank you very much in Greek.
We'll take it. Judge, thank you very much indeed, sir.
Pleasure.